Our guest today is the Deputy Mayor of the City of Chicago. He was appointed 1 year ago by Mayor Rahm Emanuel. Our guest today is a non-practicing lawyer, an industrialist, an expert in mergers and acquisitions, a teacher, and a philanthropist. He graduated from Rutgers College and from Rutgers Law School. Our guest today is a trustee of Northwestern University. Ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Mayor of the City of Chicago, Mark Angelson. Mark? All right, have fun up here.
Thank you, Jay. I've long been an admirer of yours, Jay, not only for what you've done at the City Club, but as many people in this room know, what you've done to help children and adults with special needs at Lamb's Farm and with the Special Olympics. Thank you for everything you do. As I look around the room, I see a strikingly large number of familiar faces, which I hope is good news. I see in particular three. I see Newton Joe Minow, and I see Howard Treenans. And I'd like to recognize them and thank them for coming. I wouldn't be standing before you today if it wasn't for those three people. So, thank you. I'm going to do some relatively brief prepared remarks, and I'm promised by Jay that this is going to be a lively group and that we're going to have an active question and answer session. So here we go. This is a brief summary of the path that brought me here today. I was transplanted to Chicago 30 years ago when Newton Howard hired me away from a New York law firm to join Sidley Austin. During my 14 years at Sidley, I was a member of the Sidley family who was prepared to live elsewhere. It's hard to get Chicagoans out of Chicago. When Sidley asked me to participate with others in the building of its offices in Singapore and London and New York, I welcomed those opportunities. My children, who were distressed about some of those opportunities at the time, thank me for them today. All that time, I thought that the most important people at law firms were senior partners. But I was wrong. Most important people at law firms are clients, and so with Newt's and Howard's blessings, I became one. I left the firm 16 years ago to try my hand with talented others at consolidating something that used to be called the printing industry. That culminated in the combination of more than a dozen North and South American, Asian, and European businesses, and the creation of the modern-day R.R. Donnelley. It was during my time as CEO of R.R. Donnelley that I first really lived in Chicago and learned lessons and built friendships that prepared me for my current role. It was also during those days that I came to know a young congressman named Rahm Emanuel. When I became CEO of R.R. Donnelley, Congressman Emanuel rose on the floor of the House of Representatives and read into the congressional record a resolution welcoming me to Chicago. A few days later, an extract of that resolution appeared at my office. A week or so after that, Congressman Emanuel came personally to my office, and he stuck his hand in my pocket. Not literally, but figuratively, and not for himself, mind you, but for a cause in which he believed. And since then, he's been asking me for things. He asked for R.R. Donnelley's cooperation as he did his important work in Congress on retirement plans. He took an interest in the wellness plan for R.R. Donnelley employees. And he generally kept in touch with a close eye on my professional progress. Our friendship grew. But when he went to the Obama White House as chief of staff, I thought for sure that I wouldn't hear from him for a long time. To my surprise, on several occasions during the period of his service there, I received messages from him some asking if I was planning on being in DC anytime soon, like at 9:45 tomorrow morning. Delighted to be summoned to the White House, I went each time. We would discuss some business matter or another. I'd get a hug, and off I'd go. The last of those occasions was in the fall of 2010. When we finished our meeting that day, he asked me if he could count on me. I didn't know exactly what he meant by that, nor did I know that he was about to run for mayor of Chicago. But I said yes. Next time I heard from him, he was mayor-elect, just, and he had a specific offer, a chance to join his cabinet. My response was swift and entirely negative. I knew nothing about municipal government. Municipal government, those are the people who put tickets on my car, right? And I urged him to seek help from those who did. He quickly disabused me, saying that my experience in business, particularly in turnaround operations, would be a good fit for his team. He was offering me an opportunity to help millions of people, some of whom I know and love, with problems denominated in what some would say are decabillions of dollars, far beyond my individual means to make a philanthropic difference. We met on a couple of occasions in his living room, seated next to his framed portrait of Abraham Lincoln. And to make a long story as short as I can, although our mayor has many strengths, taking no for an answer is not one of them. And I soon was immersed in the mayoral transition and then in my current role. Many of you in this room are familiar with what the mayor and his administration have accomplished since May 16th of last year. It all springs from the mayor's 3 S's: sound schools, safe streets, and stable finances. The vision is that the 3 S's will allow us to build a quality of life in Chicago that will attract investment, that will induce companies to start here or to come here to grow, that will attract college seniors to pack up their U-Hauls and move here after graduation, that will encourage families with young children to want to stay here and to raise them here. When it works, it's a wonderful cycle. The quality of life in Chicago leads companies to create jobs here in the city, and those jobs provide the opportunity that brings talented people to Chicago and keeps them here, and those people create more jobs, and there's more opportunity now and in the future. The mayor was focused from the outset on a team approach to solving the city's financial challenges. He asked me to chair his Economic, Budgetary, and Business Development Council, based loosely on the Bob Rubin-led National Economic Council in the first Clinton White House, with leaders from throughout city government, many of whom are here today, each with a different purview, coming together twice a week for extended periods, once with the mayor and once without, to analyze our economic challenges from a diverse, thoughtful, and coordinated perspective. And it's been a remarkable run thus far. Here are a few of the highlights. We closed a $635 million budget gap, and that's out of a $3.2 billion budget, a huge accomplishment. Budget Director Alexandra Holt and others did a remarkable job, and she's a great colleague, I should say, by the way, as well. Lois Scott, our Chief Financial Officer, from whom some of you heard here yesterday, meaningfully improved the way the city handles its long-term finances, has presented a welcome new approach to the city's interaction with its debt investors. Amr Ahmad, also here today, has combined 2 departments, the Comptroller's Office and the Department of Revenue, and has led the city in recovering millions of dollars in unpaid debts, finding revenues in places that I and many others never thought to look, and I did not think there were such places, but Amr found them. Commissioner Andy Mooney and his team, Mike Jasso is here today, from whom I have learned an extraordinary amount, have facilitated a renewal of building, development, and planning throughout the city, with more exciting developments in the pipeline. John Tolva, our Chief Technology Officer, and his data team have redefined the way that the city thinks about information, put millions of pieces of data online for public use, and are working on many other technology initiatives. Commissioner Jamie Rhee and her team are overhauling procurement, are revamping compliance, are saving millions of dollars by tearing down silos, not the ones out on the farms, but the ones in and among departments of city government, and identifying and acting upon opportunities for centralizing procurement of everything. And these are just a few of the many accomplishments that also included cutting in half the head tax, which penalized employers for job creation, and setting the schedule for its complete extinction. Improvements in small business licensing. We've cut the number of required permits by 60%, and we're not done yet. The establishment of the Chicago Infrastructure Trust, the launch of a multi-billion-dollar infrastructure program called Building a New Chicago, a streamlining and consolidation of the city's relationships with its tourism industry. It's very important. I'm going to say more about it in a moment. New labor deals, including some hammered out by the mayor himself in the mayor's conference room, throughout the city and at Navy Pier and McCormick Place, and many more achievements. The convention industry is a huge economic driver for Chicago. The labor agreements at McCormick Place have set us on a course to take back the crown as the best convention destination in the world. I'm going to speak in a little bit more depth about two specific initiatives: our jobs creation and our city wellness program. I'm going to start with wellness, a subject that's near and dear to my heart, as this is something with which we had great success at R.R. Donnelly, and something that the mayor was confident we could bring to city government in my new role. Our wellness program is simple. It's free to participating city employees and their spouses or partners. All they have to do is try to live their lives in a healthier fashion. And we support them along the way with coaches, classes, technology, motivation, and guidance. And the annual health screening assessments that all participants undergo literally will save lives. The statistics are that 3% of the participants will learn something either at or from the results of their health screenings that will send them to a doctor to avoid a potentially life-threatening situation. Chicago employees who otherwise might die will live because of what we're doing. That alone would be reason enough to do this, but the wellness program also makes good business sense. The wellness program has the potential to save the city many millions of dollars over the coming years. Our healthcare costs are roughly $500 million a year, and illnesses among a small percentage of our workforce are responsible for 2/3 of those costs. Many of the maladies and issues that make up these costs, including diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, smoking, and cardiac issues, are preventable by employees leading healthier lives. Our wellness program will help our employees manage their health so that our healthy employees will stay healthy, our at-risk employees will become healthy, our employees who are chronically ill will enjoy as high a quality of life as possible. Through the Labor Management Cooperation Committee that I co-chair with Jorge Ramirez, President of the Chicago Federation of Labor, who's here today, our labor unions have been remarkable partners in this effort. Dozens of individual unions have supported the wellness program, resulting in a potential participant pool of almost 50,000 people. Now, 3% of that is a lot of lives saved in the short term, and 50,000 is a lot of lives improved and extended in the longer term. Representatives of organized labor have been intricately involved in numerous aspects of the design of the city's plan. Our wellness program will be rolled out this summer, in fact, just in a few weeks, and will become yet another example that Chicago will be able to set for governments across the country. Importantly, the wellness program has allowed us to build new relationships with labor unions that will be essential to our working together to put the city's fiscal troubles behind us once and for all. And we will solve these problems, and once and for all. It's in everybody's interest that we do so. We have no choice. We will do it together. And now our jobs creation initiative. When we set out in the Emanuel administration, we declared as one of our goals the fostering of an environment that would enable the creation of as many jobs as possible, to build confidence in the city and to establish Chicago as the place to do business for any serious company from around the United States and around the world. Confidence is our least expensive form of economic incentive, and it has worked remarkably well. That confidence inspired Larry Levy and his partners to announce a few weeks ago the building of the first office tower in years with no anchor tenant. They're building it on spec because they have confidence in the city's future. Since taking office, the mayor has facilitated and announced the creation of more than 16,000 jobs in Chicago by more than 24 companies. Here is the honor roll. Forgive me, I'm going to read it to you briefly. GE Finance, United, Motorola Solutions, Allscripts, Seton Corp, EMC, Merge Healthcare, Walgreens, JP Morgan Chase, Ford, Accenture, Ernst & Young, Dow, Lawson Products, Northwestern Memorial Hospital, Sara Lee, Commonwealth Edison, Coyote Logistics, ThyssenKrupp, PNC Bank, Aon, GE Transportation, Sterling Partners, and Huron. And more will be coming very soon, and still more are in the pipeline. More important than these jobs, however, is the knock-on effect that these companies' job creations has. Entrepreneurs now have confidence, and not just high-tech entrepreneurs downtown, but entrepreneurs who are starting small businesses in the neighborhoods, small businesses that now have the confidence to expand here. This entrepreneurship and small business growth will account for as much as 80% of Chicago's job creation over time. Every CEO that comes into the mayor's office or into mine hears the mayor's vision of how and why Chicago can be the best solution for their company. You know all this. The talent of our workforce, the centrality of our location and the easy access to other places from our airports, and our commitment to controlling the city's future and shaping its path. This is what modern companies are looking for, and these are our strengths as a city. The mayor is focused on expanding our leadership in these key areas and extending our advantage. President Clinton, when he came here recently, said that many of the problems that we face as a society would go away if most of the people who want to work could find a job. This statement resonates with me even now, and I hope it resonates with those of you who are the creators of jobs in our society. The mayor doesn't create jobs, he creates the conditions that allow you to create jobs. By your effort, your risk-taking, your ambition, and the jobs that you create, you will provide a tremendous benefit not only to your business and to the people holding those jobs, but to their families, their neighborhoods, and their city. That's a brief overview of the Chicago that we're building today. But there's another challenge that we all think about every day, particularly the mayor, and that is, what will Chicago look like a decade or more from now, when I and others will be long gone from our positions? So what will that Chicago look like? The Chicago of tomorrow will have a diverse, talented, ambitious population from all walks of life who come together here to achieve their goals and build lives for their families. The Chicago of tomorrow will have world-class infrastructure that will be the envy of every city on the globe, and not just the physical infrastructure, but the virtual infrastructure as well. The Chicago of tomorrow will have a sustainable financial system about which we won't constantly have to worry, and the taxpayers will know that their tax dollars are looked after in an honest and forthright manner. The Chicago of tomorrow will have the fastest broadband in the world and will be a place where companies large and small will flock to do business. The Chicago of tomorrow will have wonderful schools, safe streets, and an environment where people who want to find jobs will be able to do so and will be confident once again that their children will have even greater opportunities. We already have phenomenal strengths as a city in transportation, in culture, in entertainment, in cuisine, in professional services, in open spaces. What an extraordinary privilege it is to live and work here in this great city. I believe that by creating opportunity, sometimes hundreds of jobs in one day, and some days just helping one Chicagoan in need, that we're laying the groundwork for that city of tomorrow. I'd like to close with a brief reflection on what it's like to work as deputy mayor. I was a civilian for my whole life and have been a public servant for less than 18 months. I look after the city's business. I'm not involved in politics. My greatest surprise in public life has been the quality of the people who dedicate themselves to it. Reviewing resumes from job applicants for positions in the mayor's office has been like trying to admit the freshman class at Harvard, Yale, University of Chicago, Northwestern, and other such places. We could fill all the positions, then throw away the first set of applications, fill them again, throw away the next set of applications, fill them again, throw away that set of applications. And the quality of the fourth round would be just as high as the quality of the first. I never have worked with more talented young people, nor with young people more dedicated to doing good in this world. And that's what gets me out of bed in the morning. But perhaps the most exciting thing for me has been the outpouring of support for what we're doing from all corners of this great city. I believe that we are at a unique moment in the history of a unique city. Thanks to Newton Howard, I've lived and worked all over the world. There is no place in this world that has our unique civic alliance. The private sector, the philanthropic sector, the public sector coming together again and again and again to make Chicago better. The people in this city, more than any other, work together to accomplish great things. And this is not new. This city was built on that partnership and has thrived because of it. We check our party affiliations at the city limits. In Chicago, we're all Chicagoans. And as a person who is charged with responsibility for galvanizing this partnership and using it to help the mayor move the city forward through World Business Chicago and many other vehicles, I am very grateful to each and every one of you. This spirit of partnership contributes substantially to the success of this administration and allows me to enjoy a remarkable job, an amazing job, by far the greatest honor and privilege of my career. I will end where I began with a few thoughts about the man whom I am honored to serve and the reason that most of you are interested in what I'm saying today. The mayor calls me Marky, the only professional colleague ever to do so. He is brilliant and so remarkably driven that even though he's 9 years my junior, he makes me better every day. He is of the very highest integrity. He has kept every promise that he's made to me. He is hilariously funny and deadly serious, both at once. He is deeply devoted to his family. He loves this city and all of its residents. He is focused like a laser beam on the future of the children of Chicago. He's up every day by 5 a.m. thinking about how to make life better for them. He never forgets anything. He is relentless, and sometimes he is a huge pain in the neck. It is an extraordinary privilege to work with him. When I agreed to join the administration, he looked me straight in the eye and he said, "Now please don't screw this up." Actually, he didn't say screw. And actually, he didn't say please. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
If you have questions after that speech, congratulations. Brenda's here. Brenda will go back there, and I'll call you Mark if that's okay. I see the mayor at this East Bank Club several mornings, and so I don't want him to get in my face. But I want to thank you, because many decades ago, my dad met my mom, who worked at R. Donnelly. There you go. Now you know the rest of my story, which isn't all that exciting. All right, here we go. This is from City Club member Joyce Saxon. Public-private partnerships. What's your overall view on public-private partnerships? Are they workable? Are they sustainable?
promise you I didn't plant that question. Public-private partnerships are what are going to help us grow our way out of the fiscal mess in which we find ourselves. You've all heard about the Chicago Infrastructure Trust. My guess is most of you don't really know what it's about. It's about public-private partnerships. It's about, and I'll use an example if I will, our first project, Retrofit Chicago, it involves private investment in city buildings and giving a return to those investors from the improvements or the greening, if you will, of those buildings. Chicago is a city of public-private partnership. The Civic Alliance just displays itself in so many ways every single day. It's what makes Chicago most special.
Okay. All right. Peter Stosky, where are you? Raise your hand. All right, Metropolitan Planning Council. Breaking down internal silos. You could explain that for some of the civilians or what that means. Is important. Please discuss how the city is working with other governmental agencies like the MWRD. Better explain that one too.
So breaking down silos is a word that I learned at R.R. Donnelley. And I'll use the R.R. Donnelley as an example, if I may. When I arrived at R.R. Donnelley almost a decade ago with some very talented others, as I mentioned, we found that in the 600 or so locations, the plant manager, the office manager, whoever is in charge, was buying everything from the person who took him or her to lunch, from the person who took him or her to play golf, and we were spending a lot of money. And as it turns out, we were spending a lot of money unnecessarily. And so we put out a memo from me that said, you know, henceforth we're going to buy everything centrally. And you know, some of the people that were out in the field said, "Oh, and look, a new CEO, great. We'll outlive him," and they continued doing what they were doing. So we moved some people around and changed all that, and the message got out pretty quickly, and we centralized procurement of everything, from steel-tip shoes to pencils to paper clips to uniforms to safety goggles. And we've taken the same approach to procurement in the city of Chicago. As it turns out, it's been done in fiefdoms. And we will get to, and in fact have started already to cooperate, our Chief Procurement Officer, Jamie Rhee, has started already to cooperate with the Chief Procurement Officers of the sister agencies, with the procurement people from the county government. But we're still in the process of tearing down the silos in the city itself. We've made remarkable progress, but there's a long way to go.
Reverse these a little bit. This is from Marty Stern, U.S. Equity. Where are you, Marty? Raise your hand. All right. Can you talk about the infrastructure bank? What kinds of projects will work under that structure? Will repayments come from the project? That's enough.
Yeah. So, regrettably, Marty, the question has already been asked and answered. The only project that we've spoken about publicly thus far has been Retrofit Chicago. You know, there are more in the pipeline. We'll talk about them, but the basic idea is, yes, this will be completely self-sustaining. The returns, you know, from the returns on the investments, if you will come directly from the projects.
The last question, Kimberly Bears, I don't quite understand your question, so you could ask Mark afterwards privately. But we always leave with a hardball question, Mark. So this is a toughie. J. Todd Phillips from Blue Cross Blue Shield. How does the mayor's administration define success? And what are the biggest obstacles in the way of achieving that success? 25 words or less.
safe streets, sound schools, stable finances. How's that?
The three S's. How about a big round of applause? Oh, we got some good